we'll start our class for today with the prayers. You chant along with me, Guru Mantra. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Now, teacher-student mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we'll chant Mahamrityunjay mantra 3 times. It's a prayer for everybody who is suffering, particularly because of the current coronavirus crisis. So for everybody who is in physical or economical or emotional suffering, we'll chant Mahamrityunjay mantra 3 times together. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome everybody. So three types of sandhi. So swara sandhi, when two vowels come together. That means there is a vowel at the end of the first word and there is a vowel in the starting of the second word. So when the two words are coming together, two vowels are coming together, there is a swara sandhi. The sandhi which takes place, that is called swara sandhi. Visarga sandhi. Visarga sandhi takes place when there is a visarga at the end of the first word and the first letter of the second word could be anything. Visarga can never start a word. So visarga, in this case, visarga could be only at the end of the first word and the second word could be either a vowel or consonant. Then Vyanjana sandhi. Consonant. That either of the two letters is a consonant, then it's a consonant sandhi. What we discussed last time in a little detail was swara sandhi, 3 categories of swara sandhi. Dirgha sandhi. Dirgha sandhi is when two similar vowels, short or long, they come together, it results into the long vowel. So what does it mean? I'll also pull up the document which we prepared and we put up actually on the our shared drive, so that in the class notes, I would definitely refer you to these class notes. You can check these class notes and you will find them quite useful actually. So here the example is Eva Aham, Evaham, swara sandhi. So here is Akara at the last letter of the first word and Aham, the first letter of the second word. It becomes combined into the long long version of the A. So akara, akara, eva aham. We will, when we pronounce this word, we will say eva aham, as if there is just one syllable here. But when we separately say, we say eva aham, eva aham. Then we covered Dirgha Sandhi. So Dirgha Sandhi, so this the same logic applies to Ikara, Ukara or Rukara. Then Guna Sandhi. This document is already in the repository. Guna Sandhi. So this Sandhi happened when two similar vowels came together. Now what happens when two dissimilar vowels come together? That means similar vowels, you understand. Akara is similar to Akara and Akara. Ikara is similar to Ikara and Ikara, like this. But when Akara is followed by Ikara, Ukara or Rukara, then there is a different Sandhi. These are dissimilar vowels. All the other categories would be naturally of dissimilar vowels, because similar vowel category is only this one. Akara follows Ikara, Ukara or Ukara. The combined letter results into A, O, R. For example, Guna Sandhi example we covered last time. Dvijottama, Dvija, Uttama, Dvijottama. Akara followed by Ukara becomes Okara. Then we have Yan Sandhi. I think some people are having some trouble with Yan Sandhi. It's very simple actually. Yan Sandhi says that when the first vowel is Ikara, Ukara, Rukara, any of these three, and it follows by any vowel except the similar vowel. So any dissimilar vowel. So Ikara doesn't follow Ikara, Ukara doesn't follow Ukara, but anything else. So any other vowel. So the Ikara changes into Yakara, Ukara changes into Vakara, Rukara changes into Refa. That is the Yan Sandhi. So example we said is Pratyeka, Prati-eka, Ikara followed by dissimilar vowel, any dissimilar vowel. So it's not followed by Ikara or Ikara. So whenever it is followed by a dissimilar vowel, the Ikara changes to Yakara, but Ikara remains unchanged. The second vowel remains unchanged. So we also did the class exercise with the examples, and all this is there in the repository. You could look at this document. It's a very explanatory document, and hopefully you should be able to understand without any problem. Okay, so this is what we covered last time, and you see so far what we covered, it's pretty intuitive. I told you already that some Sandhi rules would be very intuitive, like you can almost figure it out yourself, and you can just say those sounds a little bit faster. So if you say faster, it stands to reason that in Dirgha Sandhi they would become Akara. So two similar vowels would result into the long vowel. That is kind of very intuitive. Similarly, in Guna Sandhi, if you say I, it sounds like A, au, like O. R is very clear. Yan Sandhi also, if you say ye, like here in Pratyeka, ye, so it becomes like ye. So like this. So you will find that many times this Sandhi is very intuitive actually. But other times, some other cases we'll see that it's not very intuitive and you have to learn the rules. So one thing I want to also mention about the last class, that we had a little bit of a problem in the video. There was some glitch. because of which there was a dialog box coming on the screen, which had blocked part of the screen. So if you are watching video, that class video, you may not be able to watch the whole screen. It can interfere a little bit with what you see. And so what we have done, we prepared this very detailed class notes, and we have also done a very detailed exercises, both 9 which was done in the class and the 10 which was homework. And we have put in that wherever which sandhi is applied. So with this help of these two documents, you should be able to watch the class video and understand what is being conveyed. So I would recommend you, if you are going to watch that video, I have also put a note in the video folder that we have a little glitch in the last video. Second thing, when we posted the exercise 10 and its solution, there were a couple of mistakes. It wasn't done intentionally, it just happened. However, I'm happy that many of you actually pointed it out, that there was a mistake there. And the reason I'm saying I'm happy, because it shows that you really understood the rules and you are actually not just blindly taking the solution. So the mistakes have been rectified, of course. In the repository right now, we have the correct solution, but I'm quite happy for those people who pointed it out, that they, how is it correct. And to me, that shows that you are actually not sleeping through the class. So even though it was unintentional, I think it also had a good side result. So today I'll cover a new topic, and that new topic is nouns. So remember, we had 3 major topics we said we will cover in this course, and those 3 topics were, if you remember, in Sanskrit grammar, sandhi, shabda rupa, dhatu rupa. We already did one class on the verb forms, dhatu rupa. We did one class on sandhi, and now we will do today's class on nominal forms, or the forms of the nominal words. We will have more classes on these topics, of course, but at least I wanted to give you an idea that how the whole thing is coming together. So today's class, I want to take you for the So before we start this class, we want to do this chanting of the table. And unlike last time, it was definitely a chaos when I turned everybody's microphone on. So I will not turn microphone on this time. I would just be chanting one row at a time, give a gap so that you can chant after me. So you listen to me, chant it at your own place, and like this we'll do. Okay? So I'll start with the first row and you chant it after me. Ramah, Ramau, Ramaha. Ramam, Ramau, Raman. Ramena, Ramabhyam, Ramaihi. Ramaya, Ramabhyam, Ramebhyah. Ramat, Ramabhyam, Ramebhyah. Ramasya, Ramayoho, Ramanam. Rame, Ramayoho, Rameshu. He Rama, He Ramau, He Ramaha. So I'll do once more. this exercise, and we'll also put a recording of this on our shared drive, so you can just listen to it and practice. So I'll do just once more the same thing. Ramah, Ramau, Ramaha, Ramam, Ramau, Raman, Ramena, Ramabhyam, Ramaihi, Ramaya, Ramabhyam, Ramebhyah, Ramat, Ramabhyam, Ramebhyah, Ramasya, Ramayoho, Ramanam, Rame, Ramayoho, Rameshu, He Rama, He Ramau, He Ramaha. Now I'll just chant the whole table in one go, and you chant along with me. Okay? Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha, Ramam, Ramau, Raman, Ramena, Ramabhyam, Ramaihi, Ramaya, Ramabhyam, Ramebhyah, Ramat, Ramabhyam, Ramebhyah, Ramasya, Ramayoho, Ramanam, Rame, Ramayoho, Rameshu, He Rama, He Ramau, He Ramaha. So today we would be covering these nominal words. The forms, the technical grammatical word for that is declensions, or in the verb form is a decline, like form word Rama is declined in these forms. So you can see this is a table of 8 by 3. 8 by 3 table. Just like in the verb, we had a 3 by 3 table. Here we have 8 by 3 table. So we have here 8 by 3 table. One thing also you might have noticed, I have put the case numbers here. So these are called cases. And I have put the case numbers here, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. I have not put the case number for this last row. The reason is this row is considered the variation of the first row, just a small variation. Like you can see, these two words are the same, Ramau, Ramaha. Only the first word is a little different. So this traditionally this is not considered a separate case. That's why it is only normally people say 7 cases. But vocative is a use, like when you call somebody, this is the case which is used. So there are two things we want to look at here now. Just like in the verb table, we actually focused on two things. One, what is the meaning? What is the meaning of the case? Like, what does it mean? And secondly, how are the forms derived in this case? So you see the eight rows here and 3 columns. So that's what 8 by 3 table. So it seems a little bit more complicated compared to verb table, which is 3 by 3. But essentially this is far simpler actually, and you would see why. In case of verb, we had a few criteria. So I'll just show you the verb table here. So we had this criteria that it is based upon the tense, that means it's a present tense. It also based upon we have not studied yet whether the root is Parasmaipadi or Atmanepadi. We'll go into the details of it in the next class on the verb. What is the person? What is the number? And then you basically get the root word, the actual word, which is actually to be used. So, and there are almost 2000 roots in the list, and even if you do not take all 2000, even if you take 500, which are the total number of the verb forms, and the complexity therein just explodes. In the case of nominals, however, this is determined by what is the gender of this word and what is the ending. So the gender is masculine, ending is akara. Akara is the ending. So that's why it's called akaranta. It ends in akara. And then you have 7 cases and 3 numbers. So the total number of these tables, the combination, are very finite actually. So if you say, for example, look at like 20 or so tables, or 25, including the combination of gender and the ending, they are not just so many of them. There are very few. So that's why the nominal is considered generally much simpler than the verbal forms in Sanskrit. I also explained in one of the earlier classes, if you remember, that Sanskrit is a free word order language. And the example which I gave you was this. So if this is the sentence, Gina or Rita, Gina, daughter of Erica from Newark, goes by train to a school in New York City to study economics. I could take any of these 10 words and put whichever way, in whichever order in the sentence, and the meaning will not change. The reason for this is that in these words, for example, Erikayaha, this actually means of Erika. Relayanena, this actually means by train. So because the Sanskrit doesn't have many prepositions, the prepositions are built into the word form, and this is what determines the cases actually. So these are the different cases, like Vidyalayam. So this actually means to the school, to a school. So that's because of that, if I do the same thing in English, if I put the preposition and the word together and combine them, there also I can achieve to a limited extent this free word order thing. So these are the cases actually which help us to combine the meaning of the preposition into the actual word itself. So this is what we'll see today, that which prepositions are used in which case represents which prepositions, and how are they used. So first of all, numbers should be very clear. Just like in the verb, we have 3 numbers, singular, dual, plural. In the nouns also, we have 3 numbers, singular, dual, plural. And here when I say noun, it actually, because the word was being used nominal, so it includes nouns, pronouns, and adjectives. So practically anything other than the verb form would be covered by this. So first case, nominative. The Sanskrit word here, prathama, dutiya, turtiya, chaturthi, they simply means first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. That's what these words mean. Prathama means first, dutiya means second. So many a times you will see in the books when they refer to the case, they will sometimes say first case and sometimes they will say nominative. You just need to make sure that one is just simply the numbering, another is describing the function of that case. So what is nominative? Nominative is simply the subject. So I'll write here subject. Ramaha is the subject. It also refers to the meaning of the word. So if I want to say Ramaha, I just use the word Ramaha. It also would mean whatever is the meaning of the word Ramaha, it is the root meaning of the base word. Like I told you, this is the base word, Rama, without the Visarga. And this word as it is not used in a sentence. But this is the word you will find in dictionary. In the sentence, you will find these words being used. So you have to figure out that what is the base word. And in case of noun, it's actually not so difficult to figure out the base word. So Rama is the subject. Just like in English, the subject is associated with an action. So in Sanskrit also, Rama is associated with an action. So we already saw verb forms. Verb is always related to, verb represents the action in Sanskrit. So verb basically is called Kriya in Sanskrit. Just like in Kriya Yoga, same word. And it actually means action or activity. So verb represents the action and subject is the doer of the action. So whether the action is actually consciously being done or not doesn't matter. Just the verb represents the part of the action. Action could be just sitting in some cases, like there could be a verb for just being or just sitting, and you will say this person is the doer of the action or subject of the action. So we saw our verb form was gachati. So in this case, I would, if I have to use the subject, I would say Ramaha gachati. Ramaha gachati. If you remember from your verb forms, you will know gachati means he goes. But he goes is only when we don't have a subject. When I say Ramaha gachati means Rama goes. So subject always gets associated with the verb forms. So if I again take you to the verb forms here, you see this is the third person. Gachati, gachatah, gachanti. Only this row can ever be used with the subject here. The subject which you see basically in this row, these are the only three possible words which can be used with these three words. The other verb forms, they are for the second person like you and I. So they cannot be used with any other words. So here the words are fixed with which word you will use these verb forms. That's why whether I use the subject here or not, the meaning is never ambiguous. It's always the same meaning, because here the subject is fixed, one-to-one relationship. But in this row, first row, the third person, there could be any number of subjects because it's the third person. So Rama goes, a boy goes, he goes, she goes. You could have anything. So here, and also you can see there is a correspondence with the number here, like singular Ramaha, I'll use with the Gachati. Ramau, if I have to say two Ramas are going, let's say two persons, both of them name are Rama, and I say two Ramas are going. So I will say Ramau Gachataha. You see the dual there has to match with the dual here. Similarly, plural, if there are many people with the name of Rama, in the or you can say like the same kind of forms will be made for the word balaka, which means boy, like many boys are going. So Ramaha, and here from here you will take the form plural again, gachanti. So this is very important. The number of the noun and number of the verb has to match in a sentence. You could not have differently. It would become a grammatically incorrect sentence if you do that. So that would give you some idea. When you look at the sentence and you find a plural verb, you have to look for the plural subject. The subject cannot be singular, or vice versa. If you see a singular verb, you have to look for a singular subject in the sentence. So this is the subject. Subject is the doer of the action. In Sanskrit, the subject is karta. It's called karta. So here, karta simply means doer of the action. Karta. Subject. Or doer of the action. And action here I am simply referring to as verb. So doer of the verb, whatever verb represents. The next case, the accusative. So these terminology which you are seeing, this is the standard terminology for defining the case, and it's a little bit, you can say, technical terminology for defining the grammar. So there are cases in other languages also, like Latin and Greek. I believe Old Greek, they had the cases, and that's how they were words. So these words are being taken from that terminology, like dative, ablative, genitive may not be very looking like a very English-like terms, but that's how it has been taken. So we'll see the what do they mean actually and how are they used. Accusative. Accusative would be object. So this is the object. What does object mean? That this Rama is the object of some action. So if I say I am seeing Rama, so I am the subject, I am the doer of the, so first of all the verb. So I see Rama. If I have this sentence, let me write it down. I see Rama. So here you see the word see. This is the action, verb. I am the doer of the action. So subject. And who is the object of the verb? That means seeing what? That is Rama. So that is the object. In Sanskrit, the way I will write this sentence would be, so this I in Sanskrit we have not discussed it, but it's called aham. Rama, C would be aham, so pashyami, if you remember from our verb table, so that would become pashyami. And then Rama, because it's an object, I will use the second case, and it's a singular. I'm seeing one Rama, so I'll use this Ramam. So here I will say aham pashyami Ramam. Generally, the way you will write in Sanskrit, as I said, that this word order is fine. It doesn't have any ambiguity, but generally the way you will write in Sanskrit will be aham, subject, then object, Ramam, pashyami. Aham Ramam pashyami. So Rama becomes the object. So we discussed the two cases. And any questions so far on these two cases? Please send the comment. I'll take the questions before going further. Just related to these two cases, please send the questions just related to these two cases if you have any question. The one of the question is aham required? No, in this sentence, because aham is the subject and that could be the only subject based upon this verb form pashyami, it's not required. So even if you say Ramam pashyami, it would mean I see Rama. So in Sanskrit, this subject, whenever the subject is in the first person or second person, that is always optional. Singular and plural noun are same, so the only way to tell the difference is with the verb forms. If they are same, in this case they are not same. In this case, singular and plural noun are different. Ramaha, Ramaha, Ramam, Raman. So singular and plural are not same, but if they are same, yes, you will know from the verb whether it is subject or object. Ramo would be, there is a question, when is Ramo used in this context? Ramo is the dual. So when there are two Ramas, for example, if I'm seeing two Ramas, there are two persons named Rama, then I would use dual in case of object. So dual, so it's a very simple. It is simply the number of persons, singular, dual, plural. If your subjects are many, you will use plural. If your subjects are two, you will use dual. If your subject is singular, you will use singular. So singular, plural, dual, so these are the things. So please do not send me the question yet of the other cases, just these two cases, because I just want to take the questions right now. Later on you can send me all the other questions, but for right now just keep your questions related to these two cases. Exactly why the verb is in the end? No, it is sandhi rule. It's not a sandhi rule per se. Verb is in the end because that's how generally the Sanskrit is written. So as I said, Sanskrit is a free word order language, so you can write it different ways. Generally that's the sequence. how would you say, somebody is asking, Rama saw Rama. So how would you say this? You will say Ramaha Ramam Pashyati. Ramaha Ramam Pashyati. If it is Rama sees Rama, you will say Ramaha Ramam Pashyati. So one Rama would be subject, another Rama would be object, and the verb would be matching with the subject. Can you say also Pashyami Ramam? Yes, as I said, subject Sanskrit word order is flexible. You can say Pashyami Ramam, and the meaning is the same. How do you determine which object to pick? I'm not sure if this question is clear to me. How do you determine which object to pick? You will pick up based upon the number. If you are talking of out of these three, which one to pick? How many objects are there? Is aham needed, since Pashyami already means I see? It's optional. It's not needed. Will Rama always be capitalized in English way of writing, but not Sanskrit? Sanskrit does not have any capitalization in letters. So Sanskrit does not have capital or non-capital letters. Only English has. And since it's a proper name, you would capitalize in English when you're writing in English. So some people are still asking about the email on which to send the homework, which is a bit surprising to me. We are in the 6th class. Please check back your emails, the welcome emails. Just I'll tell you, the email is learnsanskrit@kriya.org, and we have communicated multiple times. How would you know if Rama is the subject or the object in the same sentences? They have the same form. So yes, they have the same form. You would know based upon the verb. So if the verb is in dual, you would know that dual should be the subject. If the verb is in singular, subject is something else, then Rama would be object. So it is a contextual because both words are same. Generally, it will not cause a confusion because the subject matches the verb in the person. Okay, so we'll go to the other cases now. Instrumental. Instrumental, the third case. As the name tells you, that's an instrument. So it is used in the sense of by. So it is used in the sense of preposition by, with. So generally that's the sense in which this is used. So how will you use, for example, Ramena? By Rama. So something is done by Rama. Then you will use Ramena. There is a preposition in Sanskrit called saha. Very few prepositions, but there is a preposition called saha. It actually means with. This preposition can also be used with the third form. So, for example, if I say I am going with Rama, so I'll say aham Ramena saha gachhami. I'm going with Rama. Aham Ramena saha gachhami. Or Ramena saha gachhami, because aham would be optional. Ramena saha gachhami, that would be one of the use of the third case. So here I'll just write Ramena saha Gachami. Ramena saha gachami. I'm going with Rama. Another way the third person is used, third case is used when you are writing the passive kind of sentence in Sanskrit. We haven't covered those yet. We'll cover them hopefully. I am not sure in this course we'll get to that. But just understand that in Sanskrit also, just like in English, you can make active and passive voice. And in passive voice, when you make in English, it normally subject becomes by Rama, for example. Like if I have to say in Sanskrit, in English, Rama goes to school, and if I have to turn it into the passive voice, I would say the school is being gone to by Rama. Some Sanskrit also would use in this case, this third case, Ramena. Now we are talking of Ramena, but generally you will also find this case being used when, say, for example, car. I am going the school by car. So you will say Vahanena. The Vahana is the Sanskrit for vehicle. So if you remember in this example which I had earlier put on in the free word order language, Rail Yanena, this is the third case, by the train, by a train, Rail Yanena. You see this word, Rail Yanena. So this is the third case example here. So why it becomes Ramena, there is Yanena, we'll see later. But that is an example of third case. Again, if you have multiple vehicles, for example, and there are many people going by many vehicles, you could use plural. So number is simply understand. Number is depending upon the number of the thing for which you are using. Then the fourth case, Chaturthi, or the dative. Dative is not a very familiar English word. It actually would generally used in the preposition meaning. Actually, let me use the red color only. For. So when you have to use it in the sense of for, you will use the dative case. One of the example when I use the dative case in case of Rama would be if I'm giving something to Rama. So I'll basically, in this case, it will be like I'm giving something for Rama. So I give a book for Rama. So the book itself would become object of, so here the action would be giving, book become the object of the action, and Rama would become into the for whom I am doing. So I'm giving the book for Rama, or in English we say to Rama, but in Sanskrit we use the fourth case, Ramaya. Also in our example, if you look at here, I have used this word. It's a little long word, but you can see the form. Arthashastradhyayanaya. You see this form? To study economics. Arthashastradhyayanaya, the fourth case. So for or in other words, for studying economics. That is the fourth case. So dative would be, you see the Ramaya, Arthashastra, Adhyayanaya, the endings are the same. So Ramaya. So that will be used in the fourth case. Fifth case, ablative. Again, this meaning is actually not very obvious. In English, this is not a common word. This represents the preposition from. So from in the sense of going away from something. So if I say I take the book from Rama, I will use this word, this term. I am taking the book from Rama. So I'll be using the, so verb would be take, the object of the verb would be book. So you will use the second case of the book, and from Rama you will use the fifth case, Ramat. Again, in our example earlier, if you look at this word Newark Nagrat here, from New York, from Newark Nagrat, from New York City, not New York, Newark City. So this is I'm using At, Nagarat, Ramat. You see the same form? Ramat, Nagarat. So that's what it means. It is used in the fifth case. Genitive. Genitive is used in the sense of, or like we say apostrophe s. So Ramasya, that means Rams, of Rama. So Ramasya brother is Lakshmana. So I would say Lakshmana is brother of Rama. So I would say Ramasya Bhrata. Bhrata is brother. Lakshmana. Ramasya Bhrata Lakshmana. That would be the genitive case. In the sense of or apostrophe s. Or if you have to say this is Ram's book, then again you will use the word Ramasya. Ramasya Pustakam Ayam. This is Rama's book. Then locative, or the seventh case, Rame. It is used for the preposition in or on. So how would you use in Rama this kind of locative? So it can be used two ways. One, it can be used as a physical thing, like there is a shirt on Rama. So you can actually say you can use the Rame. Or you can use lot of good qualities reside in Rama. So in that sense, it's a like figuratively also you can use the same case, Rame. In our sentence, if you look at here, we are saying in Newark City, New York Nagare, in Nagare Rame. You see the this thing, New York Nagare. That means in New York City, Rame Nagare. So it is the seventh case. So it is used when the preposition is in or on. Vocative case. Vocative case is used when you're calling somebody. So if you are calling Rama, hey Rama, so hey is actually not a part of the case. I have just put in to emphasize that it is used for calling. If you will just find this word actually, Rama, and you will know if you just see this word Rama, it means it has to be used in vocative. That means in English when you say, you will say, oh Rama, hey Rama, but here is not a part of the formation. Only Rama is the word. He is, I have added just to emphasize that part. So vocative is when I call somebody. So addressing someone. So you could actually address, oh, hey Rama, please come here. So in that sense, you will use this vocative. So before we go further, I just want to take the questions related to just these cases. I don't want to take right now many other questions, just these cases. The Sambodhana means the eighth case. We don't say eighth case, but yes, in that sense, you can say it's the eighth row. The reason we don't say eighth case is because it is considered the variation of the first case. Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha, and you can see Ramau, Ramaha. These are always going to be same. So dual and plural in singular in the first case and the Sambodhana vocative are always going to be same. Only the singular form can vary, and that is across the words. No matter which word you are using this table for, you will always have this thing. The dual and plural will always be same. Singular could be different. So it is, Panini did not give it as an eighth case. So that's why we don't say it's a eighth case. But yes, it is. It has its own distinction. It has its own purpose. If it helps you to understand in that sense, it's fine. Just understand the purpose and the form. But the why generally it is not referred to as the eighth case. In some books they might say eighth case, but it's simply because of the historical reasons, the way Panini defined the terminology. Why in the example I have Erikayaha Putri? That's a feminine noun and it's used in, so here in the example I am saying Erikayaha Putri. Erikaya is the form of the feminine noun. We have not studied that yet, and that is the sixth case form of Erika. So I didn't want to confuse you right now to give you too many forms. Just we'll focus on this form, Ramasya. So there is a question, will we be going into more examples of all these? Yes, we would be seeing more examples of all these, and of course you will be practicing also. I give the book for Rama. You said the book is doing the action, isn't I the doer, and book the object, and is given to Rama as the dative. Yes, that's what I said. I am the subject, book is the object, and giving to Rama is the dative. That's correct. Is not Ramena mean with Rama? Is it necessary to write Saha? Ramena actually does not mean with Rama. It normally means by Rama. So if I am saying I am going with Rama, then I would use Saha. So in case of Rama, it will Ramena Saha Gacchami. So in case of Rama, it is not very clear. But if I use the word Vahana, which is car, so if I say Vahanena, my ha in Devanagari is not coming very good. So Vahanena. So if I say Vahanena Gacchami, let's say I make a sentence, Vahanena Gacchami. That means I go by vehicle. But if I say Vahanena Saha Gacchami, let's say if I put the word Saha here, that means I am going with the vehicle, not necessarily by the vehicle. So I could be walking along the vehicle, alongside of the vehicle, and I can say Vahanena Saha Gacchami. I am going along with the vehicle, like taking the vehicle with me, accompanying vehicle. So Saha is more like accompany. So I am accompanying the vehicle rather than just instrument. So Saha is actually, in that sense, it is used. If you do not have Saha, then it is used more as an instrumental. Vahanena Gacchami means I go by car. Is instrumental case the same as indirect object, or is this indirect object just a figure of, say, Portuguese language? Instrumental case is not as indirect object. Instrumental case is used when you use something as instrument. It is used also in when you make a passive voice formation of the sentence. By the grace of Rama I go. versus I go with Rama, are these both third case? How to distinguish? So if you have to say by the grace of Rama, it's the grace which is in the instrumental, not Rama. You understand? So if I have to say the word by the grace of Rama I go, so I'll show you this example here. Somebody asked. By the grace of Rama I go. So you understand, you are saying by the grace. That means grace becomes in the instrumental of Rama. That Rama in this case becomes the sixth case. The Sambandha. Sixth case, Sashti, genitive. Of Rama. So grace will be used in third case and Rama would be used in sixth case. I would be subject and go would be the verb. Versus I go with Rama. This is very clear. Ramena saha gacchami. I go with Rama. Rama is actually in the third case, and you will use the this word called saha together, along with. So it's a good question. But please understand, when you read in English, it should become clear to you that which word in Sanskrit is used in which case, because in the same sentence you will have multiple words in different cases. But if you understand the idea, then it should not be very confusing. So can you use N instead of N, Bahanena, not Ramena? I'll explain this part later. There is a rule by which it changes from Nakara to Nakara. We'll discuss that rule later. Swamiji, can it be for the people we use Saha and not for non-living things? No, you can use it for living things or non-living things, doesn't matter. Like I gave the example, if I go along with the car, then I would say Vahanena Saha Gacchami. Ramo Pashyataha. Okay, so somebody is asking again the same question. I'll take that question a little later. Please tell me how to address two names in reference to second case. Two names, Rama and Lakshmana. I see Rama and Lakshmana. Okay. Okay, so there are some questions related to dual case. Okay, so first you have to see here the question being asked. If I say Ramau Gacchataha, or Ramau Pashyataha. So here I'm using Ramau Pashyataha. So here you see what is happening here. Ramau Pashyataha. If I go to my verb forms, this Gacchataha. Gacchata is the dual form, third person. Same way it is Pashyataha. Ramau Pashyataha. It's a dual form. And I'm using the dual form of the noun. So Ramau Pashyata, how do I know whether it is the subject or object? That is the question. Can you see that the verb has to have a subject? So if you say Rama is not the subject, then what would be the subject? You will say they too see two Ramas. That would be kind of, because I do not have any subject here separately. So I cannot take Rama as an object in this case. You could have a subject, another subject for Pashyataha. Let's say we two, if you would have said, or let's say two boys see two Ramas. In that case, it could be a little bit of a two different meanings possible. So if I say two boys see two cats, and both are, let's say, possibility that two cats see two boys or two boys see two cats, yes, in that case Sanskrit would have a dual meaning, and poets actually many times play with that kind of possibility, that because both of these forms are the same, and let's say if you have word for two boys and another word for two cats, and you could say two boys see two cats, so whether two cats see two boys or two boys see two cats, both possibilities are there. In actual literature, until and somebody trying to actually use it as in a poetic manner, you do not have many such cases, many such examples aren't there, but it's a possibility. And as I said, poets love that kind of thing. Rama Pashyata, in this case, I really do not see any confusion, because Ram Pashyata is a verb. So first you have to find the subject for the verb, and subject would become Rama. So Rama in this case would be subject. If you say Rama is the object, then you have to figure out what is the subject. So in this case, it's clear. But yes, that possibility can be made up where there two meanings are possible. Similarly, like somebody asked the question, I see Rama and Lakshmana, two people. Then Sanskrit actually has something called samasa. I told you earlier, samasa is actually combined words. So here, suppose, so here I would actually have aham, this would be Rama, aham Rama Lakshmana pashyami. So you can actually make up sentence like this, that I see Rama and Lakshmana. This will become a combined form, Rama, Lakshmana, but because it's a combined form, there are two persons, we use the word dual form. This is a little bit advanced for our course, but because there was a question, I just wanted to take this question. So this is another way the dual forms are used. So you could have two persons, you can combine them in one word using the rule of samasa, and then you can use a dual form to actually use in the sentence. Okay, so this is what we covered as far as the meaning of the cases are concerned. I hope that is clear. We have not yet covered that how the forms are made. And forms actually, even though just like in the verb we saw those prefix ti, taha, anti, si, tha, tha, mi, vaha, maha, there are prefixes in this also, the suffixes in this also. The problem is that those suffixes have a lot of exceptions, particularly in the case of when the noun is ending in akara. So it's better that you just change this table multiple times and get a feeling of the forms, and then you will find a lot of words which end in akara, and you would be able to quickly recognize. So in this case, we will not go just like we went into the case of verb, because the suffixes actually have a lot of exceptions in this particular table. So instead of covering all the exceptions, it just might be easier actually for you to just change this table and start identifying the pattern. Remember, this pattern is very common in Sanskrit, where the word is ending in akara, and you will find many words. So try just memorizing this table and get a feeling of the forms along with the meaning. So now when you chant Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha, keep the meaning in mind. What is the meaning? Ramat, what is the meaning? How is it being used? Okay. So with this, I actually had an exercise in mind. I'll show you what that exercise is. Maybe we will not have the time to do in the class, even though it was meant for class. You can do it later, but I'll show you the exercise. Sorry, not this. we will have 11 class. Okay, so the exercise is this. You take Gita, first verse, and identify the nominal declensions for those words which are ending in akara from this table. And there are places that I have split the sandhi for you. So there are places which have given you the split sandhi. And then you identify the words and say that which case is it. Only for this akaranta case. So like we have Dhrutarashtraha. So if I can, so this is clear, like Ramaha, Dhrutarashtraha, it's ending in akara. So I can use this word here, Dhrutarashtra, and here what will be the base word? So base word, like in case of Ramaha, the base word is Rama. So base word would become Dhrutarashtra. What is the case number? If I go back to my table, case is Ramaha, Dhrutarashtra. It is the same kind of thing. So case would be first case singular, first case. So if I go back to my exercise, I'll say case is first case. You can also write in the bracket subject so that you know what does this case mean. Or okay, I have given a separate column for the subject. So sorry, so subject, the case description is subject. If you want to learn these words which may be good, nominative. So here you could actually have because many times books will refer this and then there would be confusion. So you can say nominative, subject. And number, what is the number? It is singular. So that's how we basically put together table using the Gita verse after splitting the sandhi. As I told you, I was hoping that we could have it in the class, but so I could show you the first verse and then you could do the second and third. Let us keep it as a homework then. So 2 and 3 verses. So I'll post this exercise by doing the solution for the verse 1 for all the nouns which are appearing here. And then you can try to do it for the verse number 2 and 3. I have split these verses actually. So after splitting the sandhi, you can also look at how the sandhi is happening and see if any of the rules so far you have studied in the sandhi, they are being applied or not. And similarly for the verse number 3. And then you can put together this table. So let this become the homework. So I'll post this exercise. Let me see the questions. So there is a question from someone saying, Swamiji, I can read Devanagari. Do I need to memorize case names in English? It is a good thing. The reason is that lot of Sanskrit material right now on the internet, and it's really good material. They are doing it in English, but Devanagari. So if you remember the English names, it is helpful. And they are not so many names. Somebody is asking the question, Swamiji, could you just not use the Ramam Lakshmanam Cha? So remember this example which I showed. Aham Ramam Lakshmanam Pashyami. I could also say separately, Aham Ramam Lakshmanam Cha Pashyami. Both ways are correct. So this is, I just showed you one way where you will use the dual form. Another way you can do without dual form, and you can put the two singular forms and use the word cha for and. So that's possible. Okay, somebody is saying, can I do one more exercise in one more example in the exercise? I'll actually do the whole thing, but I'll do one more for you right now. So I'll do for the whole thing for the verse number 1. So let's say dharma kshetre. Now you see this word dharma kshetre. Remember, hyphen here is only for ease of pronunciation. It is actually one word, even after splitting sandhi. It is not two words. So there is a difference which I had explained earlier also. Pandavaschaiva. This word, when the sandhi splits, it becomes Pandavaha cha eva. 3 different words, because it is a case of sandhi. Dharma kshetre. It is actually one word. So even after sandhi, it will remain one word. The hyphen is only for the ease of pronunciation. So please remember, hyphen does not indicate that they are two words. So you will use the whole word, dharma kshetre. So this is, can you guess what this word would be, dharma kshetre? This, so here I'll say verse number 1, dharma kshetre. And if I go back to my table, you see Rame, dharma kshetre. It is the 7th case singular. You always may not be able to make the right guess, remember, and it's okay. It is just a beginner's practice, and if you make mistakes, I'll show you how can you find out the correct answer. So dharma kshetre, here the base word of pratipadika, as it is called in Sanskrit, becomes dharma kshetra. This is the case number 7th. You can also write number 7 if you like. Case number 1, 7. And case description. So this is locative. And till the time you are clear with the meanings, what do these mean, it is good to put the preposition which it covers. And it's a singular. So like this, you will fill up the table for verse number 2 and 3. I'll post this exercise after doing the exercise 1 for you. So you can look at the exercise 1 and then accordingly do the exercise 2 and 3. So today's became a little bit intensive class because I could not get a time for you to have the homework, the classwork. So what do words mean in the homework? This is from Gita. You can actually look at the places where the word meanings are given, and that may help you. So I'll show you a site actually, which will be actually a very good site, and I have put it in the repository. So this is the site. There are actually 2 sites. Let me show you 2 different sites. So there is a site called Sanskrit Documents. It has all the pretty much all the Sanskrit documents, scriptures, etc. in the original text. So here I can say Bhagavad Gita, and you see here it says Bhagavad Gita Sandhi Vigraha Anvaya. That means Gita is split. Vigraha means split. So the Sandhi is split, and Anvaya means it has also been arranged, which is the way you should actually write that sentence. So if I click on this, it is coming in Devanagari, but as you can see the top row, you can change into any script. So if I say Roman, you can get the Roman. So I just wanted to increase the size of this so you can see clearly. So here the way it has done, you see the first verse is written, and that is written as it is original with the sandhi. Then the next row, the same verse is written 1-1, but after splitting the sandhi. You can see this. Pandavashaiva Pandavaha cha eva. Then he has given the anvaya, how the sentence should be formed in Sanskrit. We are not concerned about anvaya right now. We are only concerned about splitting the sentence. So if you want to do this exercise which I just gave you for more verses for your own practice, you can actually refer to here and see how the words are split. Okay. Then another website. So this website I'm putting in the repository our link, so you don't have to remember or note down right now. Then another website. This is only in English or English script, and this is a beautiful website. What it does, it actually, so the Bhagavad Gita verse 1-1, it gives you the verse. It also has an audio. You can play the audio, and it's a beautiful audio by one monk called Swami Brahmananda. His recording is considered very good for Gita recording. And then what he has done, he has split the words also with the meanings. So Dhritarashtra Uvacha means he spoke, Sanjaya, O Sanjaya, Dharam Kshetre, in the field of dharma. So even from the meaning here, you can guess it is the seventh case, in the field of dharma. Kurukshetra, in the field of Kurus. Samavetaha, assembled. So from the meaning, also you can guess, you can take the help of this site to see the meaning and guess that what should be the case and the number. And there is a second tab called grammar. This I will recommend you only to check your solution after you are done, because this actually tells you that what is the solution of your exercise. So here it says Dhritarashtraha, and it actually gives you the complete grammatical analysis. It's a beautiful website. So here it says Prathama Ekvachana, nominative singular. Can you see that? I'll increase the size of the. So here you see the pop-up is not getting increased. But if you go there, it says nominative singular, prathama ekvachana. That means first case singular, and this is the gender masculine. So from here you know exactly that, and this is given for the verbs and for everything. So again, this is for your learning. So do not look the solution before you do it yourself. But after do it yourself, feel free to check that what you did was right or not. So this is for all the verses of Gita. This information is given. Okay. So with this, I would be closing the today's class. I'll just see if any questions are there, and if I can take any question. Before that, just 1 second. I'll also want to show you one more exercise for homework. And I know that it is a little bit intense for some of you. I really appreciate all your efforts, but given the time and Sanskrit does require dedication, try to do however much you can. And the exercise 12, which is from home, I'll post it in the repository. Study lesson 4 and 5 from this book, Thomas Egenes, and solve the exercise and the end of lesson 4 and 5 and send the solutions to us by email. Those who do not know email, I'll write here again, but I hope that you will actually would know by now that, sorry, I'm making a mistake myself, kriya.org. Learn Sanskrit at kriya.org. Answer key is also there in the book. Again, do not look for the answer key first, but after you do the exercises, you can check the answer keys and also send us the exercise by email. Let me see any questions for today. Exercise 12 by paper or computer. Do it on paper. 11 you can do on the computer, the table one, but you can also do on paper. Some people may not be very comfortable with doing on computer, so the one which is on the table, that is the Bhagavad Gita words, that you can do on computer if you can, otherwise you can do on the paper. Is there any way we can have a lesson or extra content which covers the pronunciation of the mantras and prayers? Online it is very difficult for me to correct your pronunciation. As you can imagine, we are having a class, pretty huge online class, so that will not be possible. There are places I have already given you some links where you can learn the pronunciation of Devanagari script letters. For Bhagavad Gita especially, there is a recording by Guruji, and also this website which I showed you, that also gives you the recording for every verse in Bhagavad Gita. You can look at it, you can listen to it, and you can practice along with it. We are sending only exercise 12, right? Exercise 11 is just for us to practice correct. No, actually you will be sending both. Exercise 11 was meant to be done in class. We ran out of time, so to speak. So do it from home. Recording by Guruji where? I'll find out if we are still having it, and we earlier we were selling it. It was one of the things we were selling. I do not know right now what is the status on that. I'll check on that. I wonder if there are other people from Germany in the group or discuss the exercise. I do not know. I would suggest right now, one person is asking, why don't you just send me your country information? Which country are you from right now? Whoever is in the meeting, just in the comments, just put your country name, where you are attending from. I'm also curious to know how many people are from each country attending this class. How to identify nouns if we do not know what each word means. So now you can use this site, what this word mean, and then you can identify nouns. Swamiji, by the time you were reading my question on indirect object, my internet went off. Can you please post your answer? You will have the opportunity to listen to this recording. We will post this recording, and then you can actually listen to your question, answer, and other details. I'm unable to understand the words in the homework. I have already given you the website, which will give you the meaning of the words. One person is asking what means Lakshmana. Lakshmana is another name. In the scripture, he was brother of Rama. So just like Rama is one name, Lakshmana is another name. He was younger brother of Rama. All right. So with this, we would be closing our class. It's already time today because we did not have a break. It became a little bit intense. Look at this nominative table. Try to chant it many times. That will slowly come to your memory. When you read Bhagavad Gita verses, you can start seeing the pattern and you can see the meaning. Then meaning will start making sense to you slowly. Okay. With this, I'll just say the prayers, our closing prayers. Please chant it along with me. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.